Welcome to my sewing room. Just when I bet you thought there was nothing new to learn about lace shaping, well, I have a surprise. We have a new type of lace shaping called pinless lace shaping, and today's show is all about pinless lace diamonds. The New Zealand blouse is one of my very favorites for lace shaping, and we have the lace diamonds with the miters. The New Zealand blouse with this beautiful round yoke also has a little bit of silk ribbon embroidery. One of our Jack and Jill dresses is this wonderful, wonderful dress which has a diamond shape on the bodice, and then as we go down the skirt, I think I'll just hold it up here to see a little bit better. As we go down the skirt, we see more diamonds on the skirt, and these are little snippets of handkerchiefs, old handkerchiefs that have been put inside those diamonds. Lingerie, ladies' lingerie is one of the favorite things for women to sew, and I have a beautiful lace shape with miters, lace-shaped diamonds, kind of a squishy diamond, but lace-shaped diamonds on the sleeves of the ladies' pajama top and on the legs of the ladies' pajama bottom are beautiful diamond shapes that go down to the bottom of the leg. Jack and Jill love to wear, little Jacks and little Jills love to wear rompers and bubbles. And this little romper has a beautiful shaped 3 diamonds on the front and absolutely a sweet collar with double needle pin tucks. So to learn a brand new way of lace shaping, won't you come along to the technique boards with me? Making a pinless lace diamond is so easy. Some of my students, as I've taught around the country this year, have said, Martha, this is easier than sticking pins into a board. Let me just share with you how. Okay, first of all, like on any lace diamond, I am going to go ahead and trace the diamond off, and I do indeed put my miter lines. That's extremely important. Okay, for pinless lace shaping, all you do is simply I forgot to tell you, you do need to put some stabilizer behind this, and I use a little temporary spray adhesive, you know, that glue that goes away to kind of hold the stabilizer, not on the front, but to hold the stabilizer to the fabric. Okay, I can use a straight stitch or a zigzag, but I stitch all the way around. Now you notice I did not fold in my miters. I stitch all the way around. Do not fold in the miters. I'll stitch all the way down. Now when I get to the bottom, I will fold under this miter before I finish my stitching. Okay, now remember I did not fold in my miters as I stitched this, so I will come in at all the miter points, simply fold the miter in and put in a pin on all 4 of the miter points. After you make a diamond, it's really important to cut away the fabric from behind. I use a little blunt-toed scissor called a kindergarten scissor or a nurse's pocket scissor. Okay, come in and trim the fabric from behind the diamond, and please be very careful with your trimming, trying not to cut the lace. A lot of people ask me after we finish these diamonds, now Martha, what do we do about these corners, these miters? Well, I'll tell you. Now I want to make this real clear because it's easy. You come in and you zigzag over the miters, and then the next question always is, well Martha, what do I do about that little dart behind there? You have 2 options. Either trim it away after you have zigzagged, or you can leave the little dart in. If you'll come over to the sewing machine with me, I'm going to show you once again how easy it is to do pinless lace diamonds. And you can do pinless lace, all of the shapes. It isn't just diamonds. Okay, I have my shish kebab stick. You know, I can't sew without a shish kebab stick. All right, I trace on the diamond, and it's really a good idea, I think, to put a little bit of this temporary spray adhesive. Of course, you'll have to center it, and to kind of glue your fabric to your stabilizer. It is important to have a pull-away stabilizer. Then I'm going to get my lace piece, and I already have one started over here. I am using an applique stitch. I have nothing pinned. I'm just simply going to stitch around the corner. Now when I come around this corner, I am just going to stop when I get to the corner. Okay, I've stopped. I'm going to turn the corner, simply pulling the lace. I am not folding that dart in right now. I'm going to do that later. I simply turn, and I'm going to do my applique stitch. And you know what? That's the reason I keep a shish kebab stick. If anything just kind of gets scrunched underneath there, you can take your shish kebab stick and pull it out. Okay, I'm on my road now. I'm going to do the applique stitch, attaching the flat lace to the fabric. I have not pinned anything. This truly is pinless lace shaping. Now when I come down to the bottom, I'm going to show you at this bottom miter, I am going to fold in. I'm going to stop about right there. All right, I am going to pick it up, twist it underneath, and fold my miter in. Looks pretty good. Let me get my shish kebab stick and pull it just a little more carefully. And my bottom miter is folded in, so I will continue my Madeira applique stitch, or just my applique or zigzag. You do not have to have your decorative stitch. I do have my decorative stitch going. Now I have zigzagged or decorative stitched all the way down to the bottom. It is now time to pull it out and show you what we have here. I have folded in this miter. Now I'm going to go back in, as you saw over there on the boards. I'm simply going to go back in, hold it, and fold in the other miters. Use your shish kebab stick where it lines up perfectly with those lines you've drawn. I will pin it. I've already done that on these others. I will simply chop off the tails here, and this is what it looks like after everything is stitched and folded and pinned and chopped. And now then it's time for me to go back in and stitch the inside. After stitching the inside, I will come back and cut the fabric from behind to make it peekaboo. And you remember what I told you about these little darts. I think right here you can see that little dart. Okay, after I've trimmed the fabric, I come in and zigzag on top of that little miter. And then if I want to, I can turn it over and trim that little miter away, or I can leave it in there. It's a little bit stronger if you leave it in. But people, that is something brand new on lace shaping, pinless lace shaping. I have this sweet little collar of this little boy or little girl one-piece romper here that I wanted to share with you. See how pretty the diamonds are on the front? And you can do this pinless, and you don't ever have to pin lace shaping again, whether you're doing diamonds, flip-flops, or curving lace. And next I have some more pinless diamonds for you on a precious little baby day gown and baby bonnet. This precious baby bonnet and baby day gown has pinless lace diamonds on it. The little bonnet has the pinless lace diamonds which go across the top. And by the way, this little baby tatting is so pretty. And this fabric is a blue Swiss flannel, which is awfully nice for baby day gowns. As you can look, the front of the day gown has little tucks and a wonderful pinless diamond in the middle. And as we travel down the front of the day gown, you will see what I call a combination pinless lace diamonds, and there are two on either side and then one in the middle. What an absolutely sweet and tailored baby day gown. Okay, how do you do those one on top of each other lace diamonds? First of all, we'll trace it off on our fabric, and once again I'm going to use some of my temporary spray adhesive to hold the stabilizer to the diamonds when I begin to sew my pinless diamonds. I have already stitched these for you, so you can see that they're kind of floppy looking, but I have stitched around the outside of both of these outside diamonds. Now my next step will be to take my shish kebab stick and simply come in here and hold the miter. Got to pull it over a little bit more, lay it flat, and hold the miter where it folds in there perfectly. And then the next step is simply to come in, and I can either stick a pin in this board, since I have a board, and go press it and then not have to do anything, or if you want to, you can also put and just simply grab it and just simply fold that miter underneath there until it fits. All right, now then, the next step is to put the middle diamond in on top of the other two diamonds. So after these two are stitched and pressed and the miters are folded down, I'm going to put the next diamond on without using any pins at all. Just come in here and fold the miter in, come up here and fold this miter back to make it really pretty on the bottom. Come in here, take my stick, fold the miter in, kind of tricky there, and then I can stick a pin in it and just spray starch it and press it and not have to actually pin it into the fabric, because these are little bitty diamonds. All right, after I zigzag or wing needle entredot the top diamond, that's the last part of this step, then I go back in and trim the fabric from behind the diamonds, the little diamonds, trim the fabric from behind the big diamonds, and then I have this beautiful treatment. Let me pull this little Daygown around one more time, and I'm going to show you what we did on top of these diamonds. Okay, after we did our pinless diamonds, we went ahead with a wing needle, not a wing needle, I'm sorry, with a machine feather stitch, and simply went around the diamond shape with a pretty machine feather stitch. And I also wanted to show you the hem on this Daygown. We simply turned up the hem and stitched tatting down on top of it to hold that hem. Absolutely beautiful and easy pinless lace diamonds. And now I have a beautiful Victorian craft to share with you. This little Victorian box is so easy to make, and it's really, really fun to do, and the most important part is it's done with a hot glue gun. Okay, buy the little box that already has everything printed on it. We're going to show you how to assemble all of this very, very easy project. When I open it, one of the things I like best is there is a place, just a magnetic place to put your needle, which is already threaded. You have to make your little pin cushion, which I already have here, to fit each individual box. And by the way, you can customize it so it will fit your box. Then I have some scissors in here with a little zinger that you hook onto your lapel, and those are the kind of scissors, by the way, that I use to cut fabric from behind my lace shapes. And then, of course, thread, and it's always handy just to tuck a few little things such as a sewing gauge. Well, with my new fingernails, I can hardly get it out. There's a sewing gauge. Okay, fun little box, easy to make, and this is a great gift too. First of all, purchase your box that has everything already printed on it. See, that's awfully pretty. You don't have to do any box covering that way. Then I have a little piece of ribbon. This is a picot edge, double-sided satin ribbon that I simply glue in here. This is a wonderful little trick. This is a magnetic, just a little magnetic strip which I'm going to glue in the top of the box so it will hold my needles. Now remember, I told you we have to do the little pin cushion to fit each individual box. Well, that's really easy to do. I'm just going to get some of this plastic canvas, measure the box, and as you can see here, I've already made the box. I have a bottom, I have the sides, and then I stuff it with some polyfill, and then in this case we use velveteen to pull over it. Just simply fold it over it, press it under, and glue gun it down, and you have a little pin cushion that indeed fits your box. So, and then I'm going to glue that to the bottom of the box too. And after we do all of those steps, it is absolutely finished, and this is one of the cutest little easy to make projects. I say absolutely finished. Let's go ahead and do one more thing. This pretty braid with the pearls in it, once again, I'm going to pull my glue gun in and just simply glue this all the way around the top of the box and all the way around the bottom of the box, and that really does make an elegant gift. Our little Victorian sewing box. But once again, my favorite part is this little magnetic top where I can put my needle in there and not have to worry about where to find it. And next, I have a really beautiful doll dress to share with you. This is one of the most beautiful doll dresses we've ever had on the show. The fabric is silk dupioni, and this is a little machine embroidery on the bodice, and this is just a little bit of shaped ribbon and a wonderful little circle of lace shaped around the silk dupioni. Come on down to the skirt. That's really what I'd like to share with you how to do today. You see the little scallops that go around the skirt and a little silk flowers at the top of each scallop, which what you probably can't see too well, but let me tell you about. There's a little organza covering over this hem that is at the bottom of this. It gives it almost a little shimmer effect. And by the way, we have used a wing needle entredot to attach the lace. Now, let's see how it is that you shape that scallop lace. This time, I'm going to stick pins into a board the traditional lace shaping way. All right, as you can see here, I've already shaped the bottom of that scallop up to the miter point. So I have a pin at the bottom. In order to make that miter, I then put a pin in the top. I'm going to pull this lace back on itself, remove the bottom pin, and a beautiful miter is folded in. Then to make the lace scallop, I come in here and put a pin up on the bottom. Remember, I pin the big side if I'm sticking a pin into a board, and then I go on around the skirt. Now, in order to get this lace to lay down where it's supposed to lay down, I go in, and French laces have a gathering thread built in. I go in and pull that gathering thread and it lays down perfectly. Okay, here I have shaped my scallop on the bottom of this skirt, and since I'm going to use a stabilizer, I really do like to use this temporary spray adhesive to hold the stabilizer to the fabric, and got a little wrinkle there, but that's not a problem. We'll just get it out. That makes it easier when I start to stitch at the sewing machine. Okay, this sample illustrates that I have zigzagged the top only of this little skirt all the way around. The miters, of course, are folded in, but I zigzagged the top only, and there was a reason I zigzagged the top only. The next sample shows you that I zigzagged the top only so I could cut away the whole straight piece that was down here, and now then basically I have the beginning of a scallop skirt. What do I do over these little miters? Well, after I cut the fabric away, I'm going to come back and zigzag over those miters. This shows you where I have zigzagged those miters. And now my skirt is ready for me to do that fancy little hem where I had the shiny organza piece over the piece of silk dupioni. How do you make that little organza piece? It's really easy. I made the hem by taking a piece of fabric wide enough for my hem. Then I took a piece of organza and put it right over my folded piece of silk dupioni. And you know what I decided to do, just for a little bit of security? To go ahead and straight stitch those two together. You can use a basting stitch or just a regular stitch, because I really don't want that organza to slip and slide when I begin to put my hem on. Okay, I have pinned my hemming piece with the organza stitched down on it. I have put this underneath my scalloped piece that I've already zigzagged down the miters, and now then I'm going to go to my sewing machine, and instead of using the just zigzag as I've done on the top, I'm going to do a wing needle entredot stitch, which is a really pretty stitch. And you know what? I'm really not using a wing needle now. I'm using just a large needle. I think I have either a 110 or a 120 universal needle in here. And it makes a really pretty wing needle entredot stitch, which is what my doll dress had to attach this wonderful little hem that has the organza covering. So I'm putting this really pretty stitch here. Oh, it just makes all the difference in the world to have the pretty decorative hem stitches. That makes an itty-bitty wing needle entredot, as you can see coming out of the machine. The next step shows you that this has all been finished. My little hem with the organza shiny has been attached. And after I attach the hem, then I will come back in. And as you can see, the miters have been, the fabric is already cut away from behind my lace. There is my finished skirt. And now I have some beautiful hand embroidery for you. I'm so happy to have as my guest today my very dear friend Kathy Neal. Kathy is one of the renowned embroidery teachers in the United States and is doing something I think is very exciting. She is enrolled in the certificate program at the Royal School of Needlework in London. Kathy, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Martha. I feel like we have to look through this maze of equipment here, so I'll go ahead and talk about it so that we can get it out of the way and enjoy our visit. So often we fail to realize that the equipment we use in embroidery is so essential to a beautiful result. And today I'd like to talk to you, before I begin the actual stitching, about some equipment that will make your stitching much easier for this particular stitch. And that is your embroidery frame. And I have several models here that I wanted to bring. Of course, we are all familiar with the type that attaches to the table. The trailing stitch that we're going to do requires two hands. So we have to free up our hands in order to execute the stitch. This first model is a seat model. You sit on the paddle, and this extended rod comes up over your abdomen and leaves both hands free for your work. This other frame that I have here is actually a floor model that adjusts by way of vice grips that let up and down, and it can sit on the floor and bring your work right over the chair where you're working. Some embroiderers won't admit to a favorite stitch, but I have to tell you that trailing is mine. Trailing is mine because I set out on a quest to discover this marvelous stitch that I so often saw on the antique garments. Once again, we have our beautiful christening robe, the cape to that robe, Martha. And when I would look at these beautiful old garments, I would see these tiny outlines that were so satiny, smooth, yet so thin. And it was not until I was at the Royal School doing my whitework study that I finally realized the concept behind this beautiful stitch. And now, let's do a little bit of trailing here. As you see, trailing is an outline stitch, and I have drawn the line that I want to work my trailing along. Of course, this can be curved, and the nice thing about trailing is that you can go in very tight curves very easily. The first thing I want to do is select a cord or a coil for my trailing, and here I've selected 3 strands of floche in order for us to see it, and that'll give us a nice thick corded look. And what I want to do is just come up at the end of my line with this nice big chenille needle and lay my thread right down on top of the line. And now with my 1 strand of floche, what I would like to do is to begin, and this is an interesting way of starting the stitch. It's called darning in, and that simply means that you do a few running stitches, and I'm going to begin in the middle of my line and work to both ends. And by darning in, we just do 1 or 2 little stitches that will eventually be covered up. And now that we have darned in, we simply, this is why you need 2 hands. We simply come up on the design line and roll the cord over to the side so that we can go over about 1 fabric thread and begin a satin stitch. And you'll notice as I work this stitch, I continuously roll the cord from side to side. And you'll also notice that with my left hand, I am holding the cord very tightly so that I get a nice, smooth, satiny, corded stitch. And this is absolutely probably the premier stitch in whitework embroidery. And of course, Martha, I have used this on this very simple but elegant day gown for babies. And the little circle that I've made has the trailing stitch and just a few simple rosebuds there. And I'm going to put this in my grandmother trunk and perhaps later fill it with an initial when I know my baby's name.
Oh, Kathy, that is truly, truly elegant. Really pretty, and I didn't know how that was done. I've enjoyed watching that stitch myself.
It's a marvelous stitch.
Kathy, have you loved studying at the Royal School?
Oh, it is just wonderful. It's a dream come true.
It is a dream come true. But you're going to share those with those of us out in the television audience.
Absolutely.
Won't you join me in my attic? There are hardly words to describe this blouse I purchased at the Paris flea market. Just look at the wonderful diamonds and lace shaping, the diamonds across the bodice, the diamonds on the sleeves. And as you know, I love to show you the backs of these garments also. Absolutely breathtaking. The tiny little buttons, the diamonds, the miters, and you've learned all about pinless diamonds today, but do you see how these are diamonds? And I really like this one little detail. Lace inside the lace diamond. Thank you for joining me in my sewing room today, and I would certainly like to invite you back next time.